Hi, my name is Vernon, and today I'm going to tell you a story, and that story is going to be very interesting. And I'm asking you guys to say hi to everybody at home.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, our story starts in the beautiful town of Hamlin. They had a mayor in that town, a few families, and quite a number of children, boys and girls, attending school like you do attend school. And they have beautiful setting because Hamlin is surrounded by mountains and hills, green grass with a river running past. But Hamlin had a big problem. In that town, they were plagued with thousands of rats. There were big rats and small rats, brown rats, gray rats, and black rats. And these rats were found in every home, in every bedroom, in the cupboards, and all over the place. All these rats caused a big problem to the people of Hamlin. They did not know how to get rid of these rats. Every day they tried something new, but everything they tried was unsuccessful. They called in various people to get rid of these rats, but nothing would help. These rats would chase the dogs and the cats and even the children because there were so many of them. And one day, whilst the mayor and the families were trying to figure out how they are going to get rid of these rats, they saw a man with a flute playing a strange tune. And up he came to the mayor and said to him, "I can get rid of these rats for you if you pay me 1,000 guilders. That is the money that they used in Hamlin. What money do we use at home? What is the money that we use at home? What do we call that money?
Rands.
Rands and cents. We use rands and cents if we want to buy anything or pay anything. Now guys, have you seen rats before?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Where? You've seen where?
Under my bed.
Under your bed? Wow.
I saw one in my cupboard.
In your cupboard? Okay. And you?
One in my house.
Okay. But I'm sure that you have seen rats either at home, in the street, or at some place. Do you like to see rats, guys?
No.
When you see rats, what happens? Do you feel glad about it? Do you feel excited about it? How do you feel when you see rats? Yes?
You scream.
You scream. And how do you scream? Scream for me. Wow. Yes, I know that is the reaction when one sees rats. Now imagine all those rats in Hamlin running around the place, inside the houses, all over the place. And you hear these screams every day. It's a worrying factor. So the mayor had a big job to try and get rid of these rats. So up comes this this guy with a flute in his mouth. And he says to the mayor, "I can get rid of these rats if you give me 1,000 guilders." The mayor was so glad that here was somebody that's going to try to do something to get rid of these rats. He offered him 100,000 guilders.
Sure.
And this gentleman called himself the Pied Piper, said, I only want 1,000 guilder, not more. So the mayor agreed, yes, they were going to give him 1,000 guilder if he can get rid of these rats. How do you think everybody felt when they heard this? Yes, guys.
Happy.
They were happy. Now there was an opportunity for them to get rid of these rats eventually. So the piper started playing a tune on his pipe. But it was a tune that nobody knew or recognized. And then he walked from the offices of the mayor down the street playing this tune on his pipe. And whilst he was doing that, the people all gathered around. They gathered around to see the response of this music from his pipe. And as they were walking, following the piper, they saw the rats coming out of the houses. Right out of the houses, out of the shops. Rats were climbing over the walls, over the fences, not making one sound, but following the music that was being made by the piper. That was a wonderful sight to everybody in Hamelin, because they could see that this was the end of this plague that was in their town. And the piper went down the street, past the churches, past the shops, towards the forest, and stopped at the river. And then he walked into the river, and the rats were following him all the time. And all these rats went into the river, and they were never seen again. So he got rid of all those rats. Would you have been glad if you were there? Yes, you would have been glad. And those people rejoiced. They sang. And they celebrated that now the town was rid of all these rats. So the piper went up to the mayor and said to him, "Can I please have my 1,000 guilder?" And the mayor said, "No, I'm sorry. We can't afford to give you 1,000 guilder. I'm only going to give you 50 guilder for the job that you have done." And the piper said, "But Mr. Mayor, we made a deal. If I get rid of these rats, you are going to pay me 1,000 guilder." And the mayor said, "I'm sorry, you either take the 50 guilder or you leave our town." And the piper said, "Fine, I will leave the town, but thank you very much for your honesty. You are being very dishonest now, because that is not the deal that we made." And then he started playing a beautiful tune on his flute. And he walked out of Hamelin up the mountainside. And all the children in Hamelin followed the sound made by the piper. And they followed him. Every single child in that town followed the music. Up the mountainside they went. Up the paths they went, until they got to a big dark cave. And the piper led all the children into that cave, and they disappeared one by one. And by this time, the parents of those children were getting worried. They wanted their kids back. Imagine how your parents would feel if you were being led by somebody up the mountainside into a dark cave and you are disappearing. What do you think your parents would do?
My parents would come to the man and shout at him.
Yes, they will come to the man and shout.
My parents would cry.
Parents would cry.
My parents would talk to the man and say, "Where is my kid?"
Yes, they would do that.
My parents would go to the police and ask them to find me.
Absolutely. But you know what these parents did?
No.
They went to the mayor and said to him, "It's your fault. If you had given the Pied Piper the 1,000 guilder that he wanted, none of this would have happened. It's your responsibility. You are now responsible for our children disappearing." What do you think happened after that? What do you guys think? What do you guys think happened after the parents went to see the mayor? Yes, girl?
When the mayor went to go then the mayor said, "I'll give you your 1,000 guilder."
Excellent. The parents demanded that the mayor pay the Pied Piper his 1,000 guilder, which he did. So they brought the money to the Pied Piper and said, "Please, here's your money. Can we have our children back?" The Pied Piper said, "Thank you. You have paid me. I'm now going to send your children back to town." So he played his tune, and back the children went, one by one, to their homes and to their parents. What do you think happened to the mayor? Yes?
He was disappointed.
Was he disappointed? Okay, well, anybody else?
The people never wanted to see the mayor because their children almost got lost.
Thank you. Good answer. After the return of the children, they sacked the mayor, and Hamlin never had another mayor ever again. Like the rats disappeared, they never elected a mayor again. So, what does this story teach us? What is the story saying to you? Yes, girl?
When you make a deal and you say if somebody says I'm going to give you 20 gil, and then you can't, and then when the person chases the rats away, then you can't say no, I'm going to give you 5 gil.
Very good. Yes?
Mustn't trust people that say that I'll give you money if you chase the rats away.
Okay.
If you have a deal with your friend,
Speak louder.
If you have a deal with your friend and say if you find my doll, I'll give you my new doll. And then when your friend finds the doll, you say no, I want to give you the clothes of the doll.
Okay, all right. Yes, go.
When someone buys something and you want to ask, and they don't want to give you, but you want them to give you.
Okay. So the moral of the story is, when we make a deal, when we promise to pay somebody for the work he or she has done, and the work has been done perfectly and correctly, we must keep our word and pay the money. Okay? Is that good with you?
Yes.
Will you be that kind of person that keeps a deal if you make a deal?
Yes.
Okay. So what do we do when we make deals? We give each other high fives. All right? Are you good on that?
Yes.
All right, guys. Okay. So that is the end of the story. And we must keep deals when we make them. So when teacher says to you, guys, if you do your work properly, I'm going to give you a sweet each. Are you going to do your work properly?
Yes.
And you expect teacher to give you that sweet?
Yes.
Because you have made a deal. Okay, thank you guys. Now I want you to say a greeting to everybody at home and say that you have enjoyed yourselves and that you will see them again. Okay? Look into the camera and say that. Say goodbye everybody, see you again.
Goodbye, everybody.